Do you really want what I have? Because you'll have to go through what I've gone through to get there. Do you really know the pain that I've experienced in my life? I've been abused mentally, sexually, emotionally, and physically my entire life. That has done nothing but reach a point of spiritual bankruptcy. As a kid, I was showered with gifts, guilt, and emotional instability. I was placed in a position where I had to validate someone's existence in a way that only God can handle. As a teenager, I've experienced more rejection than anyone should ever have to deal with in life. I had no friends, I was misunderstood, I was taken advantage of, and my relationship with my family was nothing more or less than dysfunctional. Once I became an adult, I got married to the wrong man because I was sure he would save me from my life. I had children by him that I didn't know how to take care of, and I found myself seeking a sense of being in life that I had never known. Within a matter of few months, I lost my husband, followed by my kids, only to watch my mother slowly dying. I was so dependent on her physical independence that I couldn't stand the sight of watching her need help and suffer until she died. So I chose to keep my distance instead of being there for her like a real daughter should be. Although I had a slight drug habit and I had cut myself on occasion since I was 12 years old, I turned more to drugs and more to cutting to the point where I'd become completely out of control and had become a habit. I just wanted someone to come rescue me because nobody even noticed I was even there. I didn't matter because I didn't exist. I began selling drugs. I had become completely violent. I robbed people, I stole, I lived in the streets, and I lived for the streets. I've been to rehab, psych hospitals, institutions, homeless shelters, jails, and even prison. I've slept in abandoned buildings, in alleyways, on the beach, and in apartment hallways. I've gone days without a shower. I've taken bird baths in public restrooms. And I've even had to cut my hair off because I couldn't afford a brush to brush it with or shampoo to wash it with. There were times where I'd scrounge for change to be able to afford a 50-cent cheeseburger from Burger King just so that I could split it 3 ways. I've woken up in the hospital for not eating days at a time. I've lied, I've deceived others just to find my next meal, just to have a place to rest my head, and most importantly, just to find my next high. Drugs, money, men, they were the only things I could use to escape from my own self, to escape from my life and all the rejection I had experienced in it. I had run to different states hoping for a change, only to find that I was still the same messed up person no matter where I went. People have judged me, they put me down and treated me as if I were less than human. Nobody understood my pain, how could they? Normal people, they don't understand what it's like to hate yourself. Normal people have no clue what it's like to live a life of guilt, shame, and desperation. Had they walked a day in my shoes, they would have understood why my next high was more important than my next meal. They would know why I chose to place my cocaine blade on my skin after doing a few lines. They would know why I enjoyed the sound of my skin slowly ripping open, and they would understand why I enjoyed watching the blood trickling down. It was my way of releasing the pain and agony I had to live with each and every day of my life. I am so strong and I am so independent because I was so weak and I was so dependent on all of the wrong men my entire life. That was the example that was presented to me growing up, so that's what I thought I was supposed to be. Something inside of me never agreed with that, so I found myself feeling misplaced in this world because I couldn't have what everybody else had. Someone to depend on that was stable enough to be worthy of depending on. I lived a life of grief. Everyone I had, everything I had, every sense of being I thought I ever had always went away. I felt abandoned at all times. I've been molested, I've been raped and treated like an object of sex my whole life. Normal people called me a slut. Even my own father told me that I should at least get paid for it. Nobody understood that I felt so voided, and the only thing that I knew how to fill that void with was through sex. I enjoyed male attention because it was the easiest type of attention that I could get from anybody. Without that male attention, I didn't exist. Nobody's seen the tears that I had cried late at night when I was all alone. Nobody understood that I had a heart under my tough exterior because I was always taught never to show my emotions. I was always taught never to share my business with others. Even if I had someone to talk to, I would have felt too shameful to open up to them. I kept things so deep inside that I never had a sense of self. I had no clue who I was or who I was trying to become, and it didn't matter to me because it never mattered to those who mattered to me. My theory was that if you didn't know yourself, you should decide who you'd like to become and become that person. Yeah, well, I put so many masks on my entire life that when it came time to take them off, I forgot what I had originally looked like. I've experienced more in life than I ever wanted to, more in life than I ever needed to. It was God who carried me through all that. It was God who carried me out of that. I am not a resilient person because I don't have a heart. I'm a resilient person because God had a heart for me. I don't have wisdom because of the decisions that I've made. I have wisdom because of all the good decisions that God has made based on my poor decisions. I'm not strong because I put on a tough exterior. I'm strong because God tore down that tough exterior and humbled me to a point where only He can keep me sustained in life. I don't have this story because I survived all that I've been through. I have this story because God kept me so that He can use me for His glory. So before you begin to seek me, before you try to reach the point that I'm at, just get to know me. I promise you, every ounce of greatness is in me. That's the God in me. Without Him, I'd be nothing.